Hey there, this is Lauren Kimball with the YMCA here to help you with day 2 of the Art Specialty Camp. For today's theme, we're going to be covering monochrome and value scales, and this is an activity that both the younger and the older kids can do together. What this involves is first a worksheet that I went ahead and put together. The worksheet talks about what monochrome is, and again, ideally these worksheets would be in color, but my printer is grayscale right now, so monochrome is the idea of working in one color while you've got all these different values, like darker gray. This is actually monochromatic inadvertently, even though in the PDF it's blue. This is grayscale. But it's the idea of using only one color and darker versions and lighter versions of the color to get a picture. Value, talking to them about things getting darker versus lighter on a value scale and how to accomplish that. The next page actually shows you a value scale and a gradation scale, which is the idea of kind of blending into either a lighter or darker color. And then there's a little mini assignment that they can do on the bottom using colored pencils. So this first worksheet, the only necessary material that you're going to need is basically colored pencils. So they have the original color here, and then the lighter part of the scale, darker part of the scale, they try to fill in each box with a progressively darker color, and then actually blend it into a gradient at the bottom. Once they're done, the ultimate goal is to create one of these, and this is a monochromatic Zen doodle. And I'm going to walk you through the steps on how to make this. First, to do the outlines, which you'll only need you can use a pencil or a magic marker, and then going in and actually creating a gradient to give it this cool pop effect. Okay? So first thing we need is a blank piece of paper, and then have the kids choose their one color that they're going to want to utilize for this project. Now, to get it started, you're going to need to, you can either draw like a line across the sheet, you can draw, for mine, I went ahead and drew a V, so it was like middle to corner, like this, to get my project started. For the younger kids, you can have them get started easier just by drawing a single line just corner to corner. It doesn't, once I get this started, you'll see why it's kind of arbitrary whichever way you decide to get it started. And then the effect from here is just being consistent with a single step. So each one of these needs to be done separately, one at a time. I'm going to start with this corner here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to line up the ruler with the corner that I've drawn, and I'm going to bump it up ever so slightly. So here the ruler is lined up with the edge of the page. I've pivoted it up just so slightly. And then I'm going to draw one line. Cool. Rotate the paper, and where the line and the paper meet, go ahead and rest my marker there. It's just kind of eyeballing this little small distance between the corner of the page and where my marker is going to meet. And then do that again. Turn the page. It might be helpful for the younger kids to do it in pencil because they'll probably make mistakes. I've worked with the littler kids at my site, and they've succeeded in doing this or a variation of this. And you just keep rotating the paper to a corner and then a little bit higher up. The line stops when it meets another line, so I'm not going to go off the paper. And you see that as you progress, you're drawing smaller and smaller lines because you're using less space, and it's curving inward. It's kind of creating a curved line artificially by virtue of offsetting these straight lines. Again, a little hard to articulate verbally, but hopefully the visual of what I'm doing is translating. It's a very relaxing thing to do. Zen doodles. And you can have, if there are kids who are just rocking this, where they're getting done with it really easy, you can have them break their paper into multiple triangles instead of just 2 or 3. There's really no rules as far as like the starting framework. And it's also a really cool project in that you can have the older kids help the younger kids. So if you have a kid that's like really not getting this idea, you could have an older kid do the line work for them, and then the younger kid could help by coloring it. So it's kind of a very flexible project. Anyway, once you get one section done, you can go on to the next section. It doesn't really matter if you start in this corner or that corner. You get cool effects either way. And you treat this shape the same way. You just start drawing. And the whole idea is just to get this really cool project going with only one color. Now markers aren't particularly good at blending, so when you get to the shading portion, you're going to want to use a colored pencil. And the kids using the packet will learn how to press lightly or press hard on the pencil to get different values and to build their gradients. So as you can see, this is a project that takes a long time. You're probably not going to get a lot of kids getting it completed very quickly. But if you do, you can ask the Warriors, for example, who are the most likely candidates to get done early, to continue working on their 3D color wheel assignment by painting the other side. And there will be a link of videos that I'm building for extra assignments. If this is just not clicking with your kids, then you can fall back on some videos for some projects that are like go-to projects if you need them. This is just, for this particular concept. And it goes on and on and on. You get the idea. But we started with this original section, and you can see that they blend into each other, and you do each segment to ultimately come up with something that looks kind of like this. Now, if the kid does it with 2 pieces of paper, or 1 line, so it's segmented into 2 pieces, it's the same idea. It's corner to corner, corner to corner. It'll look differently, but that's cool. You can actually challenge them to break it into 4, break it into 12, and see how crazy their designs can get. And then when the time comes, let's just pretend, for sake of brevity, that this has been completed. That's when you start using your colored pencil to shade. So at the bottom is where you want it to be darkest, and then transition into a lighter and lighter color until it just kind of is light. It's a little hard to see, I'm sure, on the camera, but it's just drawing a really dark value and transitioning into a lighter value. Which, if the corners are the dark part and they go out into the lighter part, you get a cumulative piece that looks like this, which is really fun and really neat. So Zendoodles, if they finish with this, one of the things that can be really fun is if you bring with you some sticky notes. Because then you can have the kids build these Zendoodles, and they can line up and create like a massive mural of these Zendoodles that interchange and line up with each other. Like, if I were to finish this one, you'd find that these pieces, when they line up corner to corner, can continue. You can have like a huge wall of just these Zen doodles that are all interconnected and touch on each other. So that is day 2.